Hi, welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sherry and I'm the Moonlight Crafter. Today, I'm going to show you how to take our Stampin' Up leaf ribbon and make it fancy. I love our leaf ribbon. It is such a very unique product. It's just beautiful green with plasticky type foliage along a vine. And there's so many things that I've done with this. I love this green, but then once I discovered that I could do some other things with it, it became even more versatile than it already was for me. So today I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can modify this, some tips and tricks and techniques, and I'm going to just show you a card that I've made using some of these different things with this ribbon. So I made a layout and I decided to make this pumpkin with punch art. So it's an oval and two circles, and then I wrapped our leaf ribbon around the pumpkin like a vine. But I felt like the green was just a little too bright for my project. It was the Come Together designer series paper, which is kind of a muted type of color scheme. And so I thought, well, what could I do? How could I change that? And so what I did is let you see this sampler of all these things that I did here. I took my Stampin' Blend markers and I decided to color on this leaf ribbon and see if it would do anything different. So I'm going to show you what each of those looks like. This is just the regular bright green. And if I just take my Stampin' Blends in Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to go ahead, you can do it in dark or light, it doesn't seem to make too much of a difference, but you do have to use the brush tip, because if you use the other tip, it's not enough ink comes out. And I'm just going to color some of these leaves. And you really don't even have to color. All you have to do is touch this brush tip to this leaf, and it is a fabric, so it just soaks it right up. Look at how dark that gets. It's still green, but it's got like a nice dark tint to it. You can color both sides, but you don't have to. I just did the front. It just soaks it right up. Let that dry a moment so it doesn't get on your hands or your projects. And look at the difference between those two leaves. That's like a deep garden green and a cucumber crush green, bright green. It's not actually the color. I'm trying to think of what this current green color is. Oh, it's Call Me Clover. It's real close to Call Me Clover. So that's one thing that you can do. And then another way that I had modified the ribbon is I wanted to see, well, what would it look like if I did it in Cajun Craze? Do the same technique, but colored in Cajun Craze. So let's see what that looks like. We've got our regular bright green, and I'm going to take light Cajun Craze just to see how it looks. And I just let it soak up. It's a little bit orangey, yet it still comes through as green. And I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference on the camera, but you can try this on your own. It is a little bit different. Like I said, it does have a orangey tint to it. And then I'll do some in the dark to see if there's a difference. Dark Cajun Craze. Yeah, it's similar. It still darkens it quite a bit, and it gives it just a little bit of an orange tint. So it probably doesn't really matter whether it's light or dark. There we go. And again, look at the difference between that super bright green and the Cajun Craze Stampin' Blend. I really want to make sure you can see that. And here it is compared to the Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock is just a little bit more green. This one doesn't quite look black, but it's close. Well, at least with the dark. The dark one almost looks black. The light Cajun Craze looks pretty good. So you really just want to experiment with this ribbon. If you've got the Stampin' Blends, you have so many different color options that you can try this with. And then you can match it to whatever you're doing with your project. It doesn't have to be super bright green. And maybe that's why people aren't using it as much as I would expect. Okay, so then I wanted to do some other things besides just the Stampin' Blends. And I thought, well, what if I take our shimmer paint? Told you I love this stuff. In another video, I said I use this all the time, and I do. Now, this one here is Vegas Gold, and this one is retired. I do have some of this still available. If you are local and you want to pick up a bottle with me, you can do that. But we still have Champagne Mist, and we still have Frost White. So I bet this would be a really cute thing to do with our Frost White. And let's see how this looks. I'm just gonna paint some of these leaves. Oh, it's so pretty. Basically, I'm giving it a gold foil. Now, one layer will definitely look gold, but the green still comes through quite a bit. So if you like that look, then just do one layer. But then I went back and I did a second layer after it dried, and I really like the way that look. It just depends on what you're going for and what project you're doing at the time. So take a look at that. The difference between the gold and the green. And then let's take a look at, I've already painted this one and it is dry. Let's look at 2 layers of paint. And it will be almost completely opaque. If you look at my video right before this, the last one that I did is a scrapbook page with the Ornate Garden Suite, and I did it in, well, one of the accent colors was gold. I may go back and add this to that scrapbook layout page because I think that would be just gorgeous. So the green almost entirely goes away when you do a second layer, and it just looks like gold leaf ribbon. I'm gonna see if I can hold up. Here you go, see the difference? This is with 1 layer, and this is with 2 layers. So again, super simple trick that you could do to change the look of your ribbon to match whatever project you're working on. Okay, couple more ideas. You could take this ribbon, and if you were to stamp this in Versamark, see where I'm going with this? Now you can take all of your embossing powders, every single color of embossing powder, and you can change the colors that way. And now you're changing the color and you're changing the texture a little bit. So I will show you this one here. We're gonna do it in white just so you can see what it looks like. But this one I've done Versamark, and then I've embossed it in white. And then I went back with the Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blend. And that, it just came out really neat looking. You can tell there's a white undertone. It looks like Pretty Peacock ribbon, almost exactly. It's really neat. And then I did it again in silver. I did Versamark. I'm gonna show you how I pushed the leaves into the Versamark ink pad, and then sprinkled on my embossing powder just like normal, and then melted that on there. And then there's my 2 layers of gold paint and my 1 layer of gold paint. All right, so let's see how that one looks. Got my Versamark. Tweezers would be helpful. And you want to make sure your Versamark is pretty inked up. It's got a lot of juice to it. And I'm just going to press this down and get it good and saturated with Versamark ink. I just want it to be sticky. And do the vine too. Okay, so you can tell that it's wet. It's darker green than it was before. And I'm just going to move over here. Sprinkle on my white embossing powder. And it should stick pretty well there. And you can knock it off if you want to. I want a lot of it on there, so you can let it be pretty heavy coat. And then I'm just going to take my heat gun like normal and melt that embossing powder. It's going to be loud for a second. Be right back. Oh, it's magic. Look at that. You don't want to overdo it. You will burn it. Sorry, you probably didn't hear me. It is a fabric ribbon with a little bit of plastic to it, so you do want to make sure that you are not doing this longer than you need to. You don't want to burn it or catch it on fire. Just melt the powder and you are done. It doesn't take but just a second. And look at that. Oh, I mean, the green still comes through just a little bit, and it looks white and translucent. It's really pretty. I could see this in maybe some Christmas layouts or some January layouts or cards. Big difference. And then once you've got the embossing powder on there, you can come back with any of your colors of Stampin' Blends, and then it will actually pick up the real color that you're trying to go for. So I'm going to try. I haven't tried Cajun Craze on here yet, but let's just see what it looks like. Oh yeah. That white just makes it really pick up whatever color you're trying to do. So that expands it even more. You could go all of the colors and it's not going to pick up any of the green. Look at that. You've got modified, customized Cajun Craze leaves. And originally I had done it in the Pretty Peacock. Because that blue is so pretty. And that way it still kind of keeps a little bit of the green tint from the Pretty Peacock. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm sorry, I just thought I was so genius when I thought of doing this. I like products that I can change and customize and use a million different ways. And so I just made this one that way. There you go. The possibilities are seriously, well, I would say endless, but at least 80 something. Don't we have 80 something Stampin' Blend markers? There you go. Customizable ribbon. And then last but not least, I want to show you a card that I made using the leaf ribbon in just a little bit of a different way. Look for this card tutorial in the future, but for now I'm just going to show it to you. I used the Wildly Happy stamp set with this adorable panda bear and the baby. The sentiment says, "I made a wish and you came true." That is from Dandelion Wishes. And what I did is I took the leaf ribbon and I cut off all the little leaves, and that's what I used as my shaker. So those are the little leaves in there. And then when I was done, I took the leftover ribbon that I'd cut all the leaves off of, and I turned that into my bow. Isn't that a cute idea? This is one of my favorite cards I've ever made in my life. So I hope you guys like this. Give me a comment below if you think this is a cool idea, or what else could we do with this leaf ribbon? I would love to hear your suggestions and your ideas. hope you've enjoyed this tips and tricks video using our leaf ribbon from Stampin' Up. You can order yours in the link below, or you can head over to themoonlightcrafter.com for other tutorials, tips, and tricks. Subscribe, like, share. Thanks so much. Have a great night.